The endless black of space stretched in every direction as the colossal Zephyrin warship Stellar Dominion cruised through the void. Captain Vexar stood on the command deck, his scaled hands clasped neatly behind him, eyes fixed on the stars beyond the viewing screen. His yellow gaze shifted to the displays tracking sensor data from the edges of Zephyrian territory. "Captain, unknown vessel detected," reported Lieutenant Kexmol from sensors. The officer's tone carried excitement that made Vexar's tail twitch slightly. "On screen," Vexar ordered, stepping toward the main display. The view flickered, revealing a drifting object near the contested system's boundary. Compared to Zaharian designs, it looked crude, built from basic alloys, leaking strange energy patterns. Its hull showed deep scorches, pitted and battered. "Primitive," observed Commander Thexan, Vexar's second. "Likely a derelict from mining. Operations." Vexar studied it carefully. 3 decades of service, yet nothing matched this design. "Unknown origin," he muttered. "Construction metals unfamiliar, not on any charted registry." Inside the mysterious ship, red emergency lights carved shadows through damaged corridors. Commander Jake Morrison stirred as the stasis pod hissed open. His skull throbbed, throat dry as dust. Last memory, the experimental drive failing, the ship spiraling out of control. "Computer, status," he rasped. Mechanical reply, emergency power active, main systems at 15%, hull integrity 82, location uncharted. Jake hauled himself free, stumbling toward the bridge. Dim strips lit pathways between exposed pipes and cables. Primitive by alien standards. The USS Defiance was built for exploration, not battle, though armed for defense with trained crew aboard. On the bridge, Chief Medical Officer Lisa Park worked rapidly at her console. Brown hair tied back, uniform wrinkled from stasis sleep. "Jake, finally," she sighed. "Crew revival underway. 12 pods failed when power spiked." Jake froze. 12 gone, lives lost to drive failure. "Status?" he pressed. "Ben restoring power, Kyle checking weapons and shields. Others waking slowly," Lisa answered. Ben Carter's voice cracked over the intercom. "Bridge, engineering here. Good news. Basic power is possible. Bad news. Our FTL drive's completely fried. We're stuck. No clue where we are. And sensors confirm it," added Tactical Officer Kyle Brooks as he entered the bridge, face grim while checking weapons status. "Unknown star system, no familiar constellations, no recognizable energy signals." Jake slid into the captain's chair, bringing up the main viewer. Stars glittered across the screen, none in patterns he knew. Earth suddenly felt impossibly distant. "Captain," Kyle said sharply. "Large vessel approaching, massive, at least 5 times our size." The display shifted, revealing the alien ship looming closer. Its design was breathtaking yet foreign, metal shaped like frozen water, surfaces curved with eerie precision. "Any response?" Jake asked. "Broadcasting all channels," Lisa reported from comms. "No reply. Wait, something now." Clicking, hissing noises filled the bridge. The universal translator struggled, spitting out only gibberish fragments. Aboard Stellar Dominion, Captain Vexar heard similar reports. "Primitive vessel transmitting, incomprehensible signals," the comms officer said. "Language unknown." "Prepare boarding party," Vexar ordered. "If derelict, we salvage. Survivors, we interrogate." "Sir," further communication. "Attempt first?" Thexan asked. Vexar's gaze hardened. "Look at them. Primitive craft. Force ensures obedience." Shuttles launched. 20 Zephyrian soldiers armed, confident, descending on lesser beings. "Jake," Kyle warned. "Craft, inbound. Raise shields?" Jake hesitated. First contact should have been historic. Yet silence, military craft, ominous. "Shields up, weapons cold. Keep trying comms, Lisa. Energy beams tore through Defiance's hull. Alarms shrieked. They're boarding, Kyle shouted. Deck 7 breach! Jake's voice cut through chaos. All hands! Hostile aliens attacking! Defend the ship! Corridors erupted in battle. Aliens expected frightened primitives. Instead, fierce resistance met them. Ben Carter grabbed a plasma cutter, rallying engineers. Use maintenance tunnels! Blasts scorched walls as humans, struck from ambush angles. Lisa Park, trapped in medical with wounded crew, gripped a pulse rifle despite trembling hands. She would not abandon them. Zephyrian forces reeled. This species refused surrender, fighting wounded, fighting outnumbered. Fighting on, sir, boarding commander reported. Primitives resisting, ferociously. Vexar scowled. 30 years conquest. Never had any species fought this hard facing certain defeat. Civilized worlds always yielded. Battle raged aboard Defiance. Two species learning each other's nature through violence. Events destined to shake galactic civilization. Twin suns blazed over Ethereal Prime as Ambassador Quintel received the urgent transmission from the Zetherian Empire. Her crystalline form glimmered with anxious blue radiance, while processing reports about the unknown species resisting Captain Vexar's forces so fiercely. Summon the Galactic Council immediately, Quintel ordered her aide. All member civilizations must hear this at once. Hours later, 12 advanced species assembled in the Grand Chamber orbiting Neutral Nexus Station. The vast dome filled with life forms perfected over millions of years of careful evolution. Admiral Zector of the Zephyrian Empire addressed them, scaled body-bearing fresh battle scars. Council members, he began, a new species has appeared in the Outer Rim. They call themselves humans, primitives with dangerous instincts threatening galactic order. The hive mind's insectoid representative clattered her mandibles sharply. Explain this threat, demanded Queen Vexara, voice buzzing for billions across Kepler's systems. They fight irrationally, Zector replied bitterly. Superior forces, superior technology. And yet they refuse surrender. Instead, resistance grows deadlier, unpredictable. Within her aquatic sphere, Sage Coral Wraith of the Neptunians stirred tentacles thoughtfully. Perhaps they lack strategic training. Many primitives misunderstand proper warfare protocols. It's beyond ignorance, Zector countered. They sacrifice themselves for others, defend strangers, display what they call courage, even when survival is impossible. Confusion rippled across the council. Such instincts had been engineered out of civilized societies eons ago. The luminary delegate, a radiant being of energy encased in crystal, flared amber with curiosity. We abandoned such emotions millions of years past, it intoned through harmonic resonance. They serve no function in ordered existence. Meanwhile, aboard the battered Defiance, Commander Jake Morrison struggled to establish meaningful dialogue with the aliens now withdrawn. Chief Medical Officer Lisa Park treated wounded from both sides, actions that baffled captured Zephyrians. Why heal us? We attacked you, Lieutenant Sexmol asked through the flickering translator. Lisa, binding his injured arm, met his gaze steadily. Because you're hurt. Because I'm a doctor. That's enough. The young Zephyrian stared, golden eyes bewildered. In his empire, medical care came only through state service. Mercy toward enemies defied comprehension. Ben Carter restored Edzamo, partial communications, letting Jake transmit, "This is Commander Morrison of Earth Vessel Defiance. Our FTL drive failed. We arrived here by accident. We intend no harm." The message reached the council mid-debate. Admiral Zector replayed it, Jake's voice echoing. "We are explorers from Earth. We seek knowledge, friendship. We fought, only believing ourselves attacked. Let us speak as civilized beings." Queen Vexar's compound eyes locked on the speakers. This human speaks of friendship, yet wounds our soldiers. Proof enough of their danger. But Sage Coralwith objected. I sensed sincerity in his words. Perhaps these humans only fight when cornered, like ocean predators on my world. Ambassador Quintel's crystalline form shifted to contemplative, green. We should study them first. Their vessel shows intelligence, but their behavior defies all known logic. Debate raged for hours as the council struggled with beings ruled by emotion rather than reason. General Voxran of the Centauri. Confederacy backed the Zahirian stance. Any species fighting beyond rational limits cannot be trusted. They must be contained or destroyed before chaos spreads. Others disagreed. Captain Dexmar of the Wanderer fleet, long silent, finally spoke. Nomads for centuries, his people traded everywhere, yet belonged nowhere. Perhaps these humans carry something we abandoned. When did any of us last fight for principle rather than profit? Risk everything for another's sake? Uneasy silence followed. For millennia, civilization built itself on logic, efficiency, emotion suppressed. Yet whispers spread on distant colonies and mining worlds, tales of humans resisting impossible odds. In asteroid belts, laborers murmured about courage against Superior masters. Aboard Defiance, Jake gained permission for a longer message. Lisa Park, versed in xenobiology, helped shape the words. We come from a world where differences exist, yet we unite. All thinking beings deserve freedom, respect. We fight not for war's sake, but because some things must be defended. The transmission crossed communication networks into every corner of known space. On forgotten worlds, conquered peoples questioned why they surrendered their destinies centuries ago. Titan's mining overseers reported growing unrest. Neptunian farmers whispered rebellion. Even the Luminari detected strange signals among their servant species. Admiral Zector understood first. Humans threaten more than security, he warned. Their ideas spread like infection. Queen Vexar's hive mind calculated swiftly. If others adopt human emotion, our order collapses. Yet Ambassador Quintel felt drawn to those ideals. Perhaps control itself breeds instability, she murmured. Council ended without agreement, but damage spread. For the first time in millennia, countless beings asked dangerous questions about freedom, courage, choice. Humanity only wished to explore, yet their message shook galactic foundations. At Nexus Station, the Council fractured, 3 factions forming amid rising tension. Ambassador Quintel watched alliances crumble. Admiral Zector rallied the Dominion Alliance. We will not let humans destroy our peace. They must be contained before ideas spread. General Voxran agreed. 17 mining worlds already show unrest. Delay invites rebellion. Queen Vexar clicked sharply. Logic shows 73% chance of collapse. Action required, opposite. Them, Sage Coralwith led the Progressive Coalition. Understanding before judgment, she insisted. Perhaps humans hold wisdom we lost chasing order. Ambassador Quintel pulsed thoughtful blue. 3 millennia of peace by control. But perhaps true peace needs choice, not chains. The luminary delegate of living energy, the luminary being resonated in harmonic accord. Calculations confirm enforced stability, builds pressure demanding eventual release. Perhaps these humans embody necessary evolution in galactic awareness. But a third faction formed unexpectedly. Captain Dexmar of the Wanderer fleet moved among delegates representing species long ignored by the Council. Too long we've been the forgotten voices, Dexmar declared. The asteroid belt miners, the agricultural laborers, the service, species sustaining your perfect worlds. The human message awakens something buried deep within us. Elder Morgan from Titan's underground colonies leaned on his walking staff, eyes adapted to eternal darkness. My ancestors fought before the so-called peace. I recall tales where beings chose death over chains. Commander Linara of the Forsaken Farm Worlds spoke softly yet firmly. Humans claim all thinking beings deserve freedom, respect. When did we stop believing that applied to us? The outcasts, as media soon labeled them, represented billions long resigned to life beneath galactic elites. Now humanity's words stirred long-suppressed memories of dignity. Meanwhile, aboard USS Defiance, Chief Engineer Ben Carter labored furiously repairing communications. The aliens remained aboard their massive vessel, monitoring every human transmission. Intently. "Jake," Ben called, emerging grease-streaked from engineering. "Long-range systems online. We can reach deep into space now." Commander Morrison turned toward Lisa Park, who spent hours crafting humanity's full introduction. "Lisa, ready to tell the galaxy who we are?" She nodded, activating transmitters despite trembling hands. She never imagined her words might travel between stars. "This is Dr. Lisa Park, Earth-ship Defiance, speaking for humanity," she began, voice carried across space toward countless worlds. "Our first encounter ended badly, but please hear our story." Galactic networks relayed her message everywhere. Lisa spoke of Earth's history, wars and fragile pieces, fractured cultures learning cooperation, centuries forging freedom and equality. "We are imperfect," Lisa admitted. "We fought needless wars, made grievous errors, but learned true strength comes not through conquest, rather through unity, defending what's right." Her words reached asteroid colonies where miners who never glimpsed sunlight listened spellbound. Agricultural worlds heard, species long reduced to feeding their masters. Service planets paused, beings labeled less evolved by ruling councils hearing dignity spoken aloud. On crystalline ethereal prime, Ambassador Quintel received alarming reports. Unrest spreading across controlled territories everywhere. Workers abandoned assigned tasks, demanding control over their own labor. Students openly questioned rigid hierarchies sustaining order for countless centuries. Over 14 billion beings heard the human broadcast in only 6 hours, Quintel's aide reported anxiously. Productivity dropped 40% across 17 systems. Yet Quintel felt strangely calm. "Perhaps," she murmured, "we've mistaken order for justice far too long." Admiral Zector heard identical reports from Zephyrian sectors. "Colonial mining output near collapse," his advisor warned. "Workers demand, what do they call it? Rights? Freedoms?" "Absurd," Zector snarled. "They're housed, fed, protected. What else matters?" But across the stars, entire populations realized survival alone wasn't enough. They wanted choice, voice, love, movement, life beyond obedience. The Wanderer fleet, neutral for centuries, received pleas from species abandoning their birth worlds, chasing nomadic liberty instead. Captain Dexmar's vessel soon floated amid refugee ships of every imaginable design. "We seek your freedom," called a crystalline Atether in exile. "Teach us choice. Teach us paths beyond duty." Meanwhile, Queen Vexara's hive trembled. Her commander's antennae twitched nervously. "Some demand separation," he admitted. "They want private thoughts, individual lives." On forgotten Terra Nova 7, farmers feeding Neptunians for 6 centuries laid down plows, electing leaders inspired by human broadcasts. "We'll plant what we wish, trade with whom we choose," the new governor declared, signing independence. Charters. Progressive civilizations watched with fascination, dispatching envoys offering fair commerce instead of forced loyalty. But Dominion Alliance commanders readied fleets. Admiral Zector marshaled the largest armada since prehistory, vowing, "Annihilation. We'll find Earth," he roared. "Eradicate this infection. Burn every human vessel until order reigns again." 3 powers now stared across the interstellar abyss. Dominion loyalists, awakening rebels, unyielding humanity. Explorers never sought conquest, but their words woke civilizations long asleep, shaking empires older than memory. And on Earth, alarm klaxons screamed as Admiral Grace Wong received the incoming transmission. Deep space stretched silent and cold as Admiral Grace Wong read the urgent report. Commander Morrison's battered ship had faced hostile alien forces 3 sectors away. Ma'am, her tactical officer announced from Luna Base Command, long-range sensors detect a massive fleet advancing toward human territory. Initial estimates exceed 200 vessels, designs unknown. 30 years Wong had prepared Earth's defenses for this moment. Faster-than-light travel always carried risk. First contact might bring discovery or destruction. Now the danger was real. Signal all defense fleets, battle stations, she ordered calmly. Initiate Emergency Protocol 7. Civilians. Withdraw to the inner system immediately. Across human space, exploration warships shifted into attack formations. Smaller than the incoming Dominion fleet, yet crewed by officers who'd studied every human victory and defeat since recorded history. Admiral Zector stood aboard his flagship as the Dominion Armada emerged at the edge of Sol System. 9 planets, circling a yellow star, and from this backwater came ideas shaking empires. Commence planetary bombardment, Zector commanded. Erase the source before rebellion spreads further. But advancing Zephyrian fleets met Earth's first surprise. Seemingly primitive defense satellites unfolding concealed weaponry, striking with terrifying precision. Captain Kyle Brooks aboard Destroyer New York led 12 ships against impossible odds, 10-1, armed with unorthodox tactics alien minds couldn't predict. All ships Strategy 7, Brooks ordered. Strike unexpected targets. Keep moving. Human vessels split apart, weaving through asteroid belts, attacking supply lines instead of main forces. Zector watched in disbelief as formations crumbled under chaotic strikes. Why will they not form proper lines? He raged. How fight such madness be defeated? Meanwhile, rebellion ignited across 17 worlds. On Kepler 442, Elder Morgan led 10,000 miners storming Dominion garrisons through tunnels carved by their own hands. Today, he cried, "We choose destiny. Today we reclaim freedom." The Wanderer fleet, abandoning neutrality, armed insurgents across Dominion territory. Cut their supply chains, Captain Dexmar signaled resistance leaders. Force them to choose between crushing rebellion or stopping humanity. Then Commander Morrison, now Admiral after uniting rebel species, launched the assault on Nexus Prime itself. Human ships fought beside vessels from countless civilizations, an alliance bound by liberty, not origin. All ships, Morrison. Broadcast, voice steady as stars filled the view screen. We fight today not for conquest, but for the right of every thinking being to choose their own path. The battle for Nexus Prime burned for 18 relentless hours, human tactics fusing with alien technology to assault the most fortified military stronghold in known space. Ships fought on, despite crippling damage, crews refusing surrender even, as systems failed around them. Chief Medical Officer Lisa Park, now Morrison's diplomatic advisor, found herself trapped amid the heaviest combat when her medical transport was caught between warring fleets. Instead of retreating, she steered toward a crippled Zephyrian cruiser venting atmosphere into space. "Lisa, what are you doing?" Morrison demanded across the comms as her ship locked onto the enemy hull. "There are wounded aboard," she answered steadily. "I'm a doctor." Across the battlefield, stunned crews watched human medics risk their lives to save Zephyrian. Soldiers their own commanders had abandoned. Neutral correspondents broadcast the scene galaxy-wide. Captain Vexar, who had first faced Morrison months earlier, stared from his ruined bridge as human doctors worked desperately over his injured. Crew with the same care given their own. For the first time in his career, he understood what humans called honor. Ceasefire. Vexar ordered quietly, shocking his bridge crew. Signal surrender to the human fleet. One by one, ships fell silent as enemies witnessed something unimaginable. Opponents showing mercy amid destruction. Admiral Zektor, directing the battle from orbit, watched in disbelief as vessels lowered weapons rather than slaughter those offering compassion. "Resume combat at once!" he roared. But captains ignored him, many demanding honorable terms instead. Across the galaxy, word of Lisa's actions spread like wildfire. Worlds long enslaved felt hope awaken as they saw strength choosing protection over domination. Even Queen Vexar's hive mind fractured, individual drones cutting ties to the collective, craving independent thought after millennia of enforced unity. The Progressive Coalition, led by Ambassador Quintel and Sage Coralwith, opened negotiations with rebels and dissidents across countless systems. When Nexus Prime fell, it was not to conquest, but to dialogue. The war proved ideas could shatter empires where weapons failed, freedom mightier than fleets. Admiral Morrison, unwilling yet inevitable, became the diplomat of a new era as species after species sought guidance for independence. The age of imposed order ended, yielding to chaos perhaps, but also to choice, the right of all beings to shape destiny itself. 6 months later, Morrison stood upon the observation deck of the former Galactic. Council Station now bustled with ships from countless species docking peacefully at the orbital hub. The vast chamber, once filled with rigid arguments over enforced order, now rang with debates about liberty, rights, and the shape of a new galactic future. Change had come with astonishing speed. Within weeks of Lisa Park's courage being broadcast across the stars, the old Galactic Council collapsed as species everywhere declared independence or demanded representation long denied to them. Ambassador. Quintel approached Morrison, her crystalline form glowing warm gold. "Admiral, the Free Worlds Federation Charter is ready for final approval," she said, offering a data pad containing the document destined to transform galactic governance. 47. Species have already agreed to its principles, Morrison read the simple yet radical text. Equal representation for all sentient beings regardless of technological progress. Every world's right to self-rule. Individual freedoms protected alongside peaceful interstellar cooperation. "It's hard to believe how much has changed," he said, gazing at the diverse ships outside, the living symbols of a newborn order. 6 months ago, most had never spoken as equals. Inside the assembly hall, former enemies now drafted trade agreements and defense alliances together. Captain Vexar, the Zephyrian officer who had first confronted humanity, stood representing his people in the new Federation. "The Zephyrian Republic formally requests membership," he announced, symbolizing his species' transformation from empire to democracy. It had not come easily. Admiral Zektor and loyalists had fled to the Rim, refusing the new order. Yet most Zephyrian worlds embraced freedom after citizens demanded it. Elder Morgan, leader of the once subjugated mining colonies, rose to speak. "The miners of 17 worlds vote to welcome the Zephyrian Republic," he declared. "We judge others not by their past, but by their willingness to change." Across the galaxy, similar reconciliations unfolded. The insectoid hive mind splintered into thousands of autonomous colonies while maintaining voluntary ties. Even Queen Vexar herself severed from the collective, the first individual in millions of years. "Individual thought is both terrifying and exhilarating," she told Morrison privately. "Your species returned to us a gift we forgot existed. Agricultural worlds once enslaved to feed the galaxy now thrived as independent cooperatives, trading freely. The Wanderer fleet became the backbone of interstellar commerce, linking distant systems. Yet the greatest transformation came on worlds where so-called servant species discovered long-buried potential. Dr. Lisa Park, Now Federation Chief Medical Officer, founded schools welcoming all minds equally. Intelligence was never the barrier, she told assembled educators. The crime was convincing entire species they were incapable of greatness. Now we see what happens when everyone gets the chance to grow. Results stunned even advanced civilizations. Beings once bound to menial labor became artists, scientists, leaders. Species dismissed as primitive, unveiled breakthroughs that astonished veteran powers. Chief Engineer Ben Carter collaborated with technical teams across dozens of worlds, blending ideas from every culture. Humans brought individual creativity, he reported, but every species offers something unique. Council Station bustled with activity as ships from dozens of species docked peacefully at the orbital facility. The Grand Chamber, once home to rigid debates over preserving order, now rang with lively discussions about freedom, rights, and the galaxy's future. The change had come swiftly and dramatically. Within weeks of Lisa Park's heroic broadcast spreading across the stars, the old Galactic Council dissolved as species declared independence or demanded long-denied representation. Ambassador Quintel approached Morrison, her crystalline form, glowing warmly. "Admiral, the Free World's Federation Charter is ready for final approval," she said, offering a datapad containing the document that would redefine galactic governance. 47 species had already signed on to its principles. Morrison read the simple yet revolutionary ideas: equal representation for all sentient beings, self-determination for every world, and protection of individual freedoms alongside peaceful cooperation. "It's hard to believe how much has changed," Morrison said, gazing at the diverse ships embodying this new order. 6 months ago, most had never spoken as equals. Now, former enemies worked side by side on trade deals and defense pacts. Captain Vexstar, first to encounter humanity, now represented his people in the Federation. "The Zephyrian Republic formally requests membership," Vexstar declared, signaling his people's shift from military empire to democracy. Resistance remained. Admiral Zakhtar's loyalists had retreated to the Outer Rim, rejecting the new era. Yet most Zephyrians embraced democracy after their citizens demanded it. Elder Morgan, representing independent mining worlds, rose to support Zephyrian admission. "We judge not by past deeds but by willingness to change." Across the galaxy, reconciliation flourished. The insectoid hive mind fractured into independent colonies. Even Queen Vexara severed herself from the collective, confessing to Morrison, "Individual thought is both terrifying and exhilarating. Your species gave us a gift we forgot we had." Agricultural worlds became independent cooperatives, and the Wanderer fleet formed the backbone of interstellar trade. Most strikingly, former servant species now explored their own potential. Lisa, Park Federation Chief Medical Officer, built schools open to all. Intelligence was never lacking, she told educators. "We convinced species they were incapable. Now, given opportunity, they flourish." Laborers became artists, scientists, leaders. So-called primitives astonished advanced civilizations with bold innovations. Chief Engineer Ben Carter integrated breakthroughs from every culture, Athetheran energy mastery, Neptunian fluid science, miners' tunneling techniques revolutionizing construction. Captain Dexmar of the Wanderer fleet became the Federation's first president, a fitting choice given his people's egalitarian legacy. "We begin a new age," Dexmar declared at his inauguration. "Not peace through control, but through understanding. Not order imposed, but cooperation freely chosen." Broadcast across the galaxy, his words reached worlds long bound by hierarchy. Children of many species now played together. Workers chose their own callings. Some resisted. Admiral Zier's raiders struck from remote bases, and isolated worlds clung to old ways. But the momentum proved unstoppable. Freedom had taken root. Its symbol came with the launch of Starship Harmony, built jointly by many species. This ship shows what partnership achieves, Morrison said, as crews from 20 worlds prepared for its maiden voyage. We explore not as conquerors, but as learners. Captains Vexitar and Ellen Stone engaged its engines, merging human determination, Zephyrian engineering, Athetheran energy systems, and more. As Harmony vanished into faster-than-light travel, Morrison reflected. Humanity's exploration had sparked a revolution, freeing billions. The age of stagnant peace had ended, replaced by turbulent yet honest freedom. Now, every being could choose their destiny, share their gifts, and reach for brighter stars together.